Good evening, I'm your host Camelia and you're watching KiniNews. Pejuang has responded to opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim over his remarks on Dr Mahathir Mohamad's new Malay-Muslim-based alliance.
Federal Territories Pejuang chief Khairuddin Abu Hassan said Anwar Ibrahim has implicated PKR Advisory Council chairperson Wan Azizah Wan Ibrahim by saying that Dr Mahathir Mohamad failed to help the Malays in his 22 months as Prime Minister. He said this in response to Anwar's remarks on Mahathir's new Malay-Muslim-based coalition, Gerakan Tanah Air. In a statement, Khairuddin reminded the PKR president that Wan Azizah was the Deputy Prime Minister when Mahathir helmed the Pakatan Harapan federal government. Khairuddin added that if Anwar says Mahathir failed, this means his wife and all Malay leaders in Harapan also failed, including himself as the key leader of the Harapan coalition. Khairuddin also called Anwar an emotional politician who is jealous of Mahathir's abilities and for being looked up by the people. He questioned what Anwar had contributed to the Malays when he was Deputy Prime Minister and said that he never left any legacy. Khairuddin added that Mahathir's time at the country's helm from 1981 to 2003 and 2018 to 2020 resulted in the welfare of the Malays being well supported. He said the dignity of the Malays was at the highest level then.
So what exactly did Anwar say about the formation of Gerakan Tanah Air yesterday? Let's find out in the next story.
Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has rejected former Premier Dr Mahathir Mohamad's new Malay-Muslim alliance. When quizzed on the formation of the coalition yesterday, Anwar pointed out that Mahathir had 22 months to help the Malay-Muslim community. He said he didn't support such an initiative because if Mahathir really wants to defend the Malay Muslims, he had 22 months to do so. But the Malays who were chosen did not really represent Malay sentiments. Mahathir had unveiled the new political alliance that focused on the Malay-Muslim agenda called Gerakan Tanah Air yesterday. In a press conference, Mahathir had said the pact would only involve Malay members, including political parties, academics, NGOs and professionals. He added that they had only invited Malays, not because of racism, but because their efforts are focused on opposing AMNO, the Malay party that had gone astray. He said that if they were not a Malay party, then the Malays will not support them. The political movement was supported by 4 political parties. They are Pejuang, Putra, Berjasa and Iman.
Sold 6 times and beaten over 7 months, this was some of the experience faced by 2 Malaysians who were duped into a job in Cambodia.
Beaten, electrocuted, not being given food and not being allowed to sleep. These are some of the horrifying experiences a Malaysian faced after he took up a lucrative job offer in Cambodia. Ma, the victim of the human trafficking case, said he only realized that the syndicate that brought him to work in Cambodia was actually part of a fraud syndicate that targeted China when he arrived in the country. He said he was repeatedly beaten and subjected to electrical shocks after he refused to carry out the scam calls.
Sindiket ini memukul mereka adalah digari tangan, 2 hari tak bagi makan, 2 hari tak bagi tidur. Gari dengan cara berdiri, bukan atas katil. Ini gila punya kerja. Kalau berani lawan lagi teruk dipukul dan dengan satu cara cili potong masuk ikut lubuk.
During the 7 months that he was in Cambodia, Ma said that he witnessed at least 2 victims who committed suicide because they could not withstand the abuse.
一个是吊在那边墙壁上，就是被看到了，全部人都看得到。是本地人吗？还是什么人？中国。一次是跳楼嘛，就第一次看到是跳楼，然后第二次就是上吊。
Ma and another victim of the syndicate, Feng, gave an account of their experiences at a press conference held by Teruntum Assembly Person Sim Chun Siang.
yang saya tahu, dia ada lebih 40 lebih kumpulan di sana. Okey. Dan dalam kumpulan itu terdapat terdiri banyak company dekat dalam. Orang China memang dia target orang dia China saja. Lepas tu COVID, mereka ramai telah pulang ke China dan tidak mendapat apa-apa. So mereka kurang bekerja. Harapan dia orang dapat bekerja adalah dari sekitar Asia Tenggara. Maknanya Malaysia, Thailand, Filipina, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar.
Ma and Feng said they would be sold to another fraud syndicate if they did not reach the target set by the previous one. Ma said that he had been sold 6 times.
Dia mesti ngaku dia orang China, dia bukan orang Malaysia. Kalau dia orang Malaysia, dia dijual dengan murah saja. Kalau dia ngaku dia orang China, dia akan dijual dengan mahal. Sebab matlamat dia orang adalah customer dia orang nak conquer scammer ni adalah orang dari China.
According to Sim, after Ma's family filed a police report in Malaysia, the Cambodian police rescued him from the syndicate. However, they released him back to the fraud syndicate 4 days later. Ma was then sold to another syndicate after that.
Kenapa telah diselamatkan? Kenapa boleh dibawa keluar oleh kumpulannya syndicate? Ini cukup pelik saya. Sebab bila saya hantar maklumat kepada Embassy Malaysia cakap ini pernah diselamatkan. Dan dia cakap dia sudi kerja balik di sana. Bila saya cek dengan dia cakap dia dipaksa terima, cakap dia sudi bekerja di Kemboja. Kalau tidak, dia takkan dilepaskan. Ini macam seperti kita nampak macam ni polis juga ada hanky-panky dengan kumpulan ni.
Ma and Feng said they managed to escape to Thailand while being transported to Myanmar from Cambodia the last time that they were sold. While they were at the Thai border, they said that they followed 5 victims of the syndicate who were Chinese and Taiwanese nationals to flee to a crowded shopping mall. They then managed to contact Sim and stayed at a hotel that he booked while they waited for him to arrive in Thailand to help bring them back to Malaysia.
Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, claimed today that their investigations found that the Royal Malaysian Police was linked to a troll farm aimed at social media users in the country. A DAP leader has now demanded an explanation from the government.
DAP Social Media Bureau chairperson Khairuddin Johan has called on the government to respond to a report from Meta, which implicated the police in attempts to manipulate public discourse by setting up a troll farm. Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, revealed in its quarterly adversarial threat report today that it had removed hundreds of Facebook and Instagram accounts, pages and groups, which are part of a troll farm aimed at social media users in the country. According to Meta, their investigations found that the accounts had links to the Royal Malaysian Police. In a statement today, Khairuddin questioned if the government was using public money to fund the troll farm. If the claims were true, he said it revealed a concerted effort to manipulate public discussion by using fake accounts and websites for the political benefit of the government. He said that it is possible that there are more fake accounts and pages that have not been identified but are running on the same agenda. Khairuddin added that public resources, including bodies that should serve all Malaysians, should not be used for political purposes. He urged the government to provide a transparent and detailed explanation on the Meta report. He said, if they fail to do so, it would give a negative perception that public entities and resources are being used for the political purpose of the government today.
The AMNO Supreme Council has called on all BN state governments to adopt the anti-hopping law.
The AMNO Supreme Council has called on all BN state governments to amend their laws to facilitate new federal constitution clauses that are aimed at discouraging lawmakers from switching parties. This came after the anti-hopping bill was passed by the Dewan Rakyat last week. The constitutional amendments only apply to MPs. However, states have the option to adopt new amendments to incorporate similar laws for state assembly persons. According to Bernama, AMNO Secretary General Ahmad Mazlan said the party is also not ruling out the possibility of amending its constitution to bring it in line with the amendments. He said they would discuss and seek the advice of AMNO's legal advisors. Meanwhile, AMNO's Supreme Council yesterday resolved that the party's National Annual General Assembly will be held between November 23rd and November 26th, while the division-level AGM will be held in October. Ahmad said the meeting had decided that there would be no party election for posts at all levels in the upcoming AMNO General Assembly. The decision followed the Registrar of Society's green light for AMNO to amend its constitution to delay internal leadership election until after a general election. Ahmad said the amendments to AMNO's constitution took effect from July 29th and added that the Supreme Council expressed its appreciation to the ROS on the matter. He added that the Supreme Council had also urged the party machinery to focus on preparing for the next general election.
The Ipoh High Court has dismissed an application by M. Indira Gandhi to initiate contempt of court proceedings against the Inspector General of Police and 3 others.
The High Court in Ipoh has rejected M. Indira Gandhi's leave application to proceed with contempt proceedings against the Inspector General of Police for his failure to carry out an order to recover her daughter, who was taken by her former husband. Her lawyer, L. Pavindra, confirmed the court's dismissal to the media. Pavindra added that they had filed an appeal against the decision today. Speaking to the media after the ruling, Indra expressed her disappointment with the decision, but said that they had already expected it. She added that everyone knew that the case had been dragging on without any solution, which is very disappointing, and they would definitely be taking the case to the Court of Appeal. In May 30th, 2014, the Ipoh High Court had ordered for the police to retrieve Indra's daughter, Prasanna Diksa, from her father. The order also compelled the police to locate and arrest Indra's ex-husband, Muhammad Ridwan Abdullah. Ridwan and Indra had been engaged in a tightly watched interface custody battle after he unilaterally converted Prasanna and their 2 other children to Islam.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.